Hello? How about now? Y'all still don't hear me? Oh man. Okay. Let me go ahead and restart everything, guys. I apologize. We're gonna go ahead and restart everything. So y'all can hear me? Everything good? Okay, all right. Woo. I don't know what was going on. I think I had made a mistake in some setting there, but I'm glad y'all can hear now. Um Well, one of the things that we wanted to discuss, the reason why we're having this podcast, um, is an update that has come up, that has been brought up by the city council recently, and the second reading was about 2 weeks ago, um, a week ago. So, what's being proposed here? I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to take a look at the post that we made about the ordinance being updated. But basically, it's an update that's gonna match a not even a match, but it will by updating it, it will align or refer to current state law that it is in place right now. Um, Backtracking a little bit, this item I think was tabled at the second reading, which was not the last council meeting this Tuesday, but the previous Tuesday, and there was some split, um, I guess, sentiment between the council people, uh, men and women, right? And they had a idea of, you know, it slowed down by I guess lack of a word to say exactly what it was. It slowed down the process. They tabled it. They had a council meeting since, and they did not bring up the item. Now, for those of you that may not be aware how this affects anything, in all honesty, this update to the city council city ordinance does not affect anybody in any way. There is a lot of backlash and a lot of people that have been, I guess, outspoken. So I've heard a lot of people have been commenting, sending me messages about this update in particular, and it's you know, some people may have stressed that they're going to be affected by this ordinance being updated to what it is right now. And in all actuality, the way it is read, the way the whole picture of everything, it's not, it's not a target on anybody. It's not going to affect anybody that has been doing, lawful business, that has been conducting lawful business in the state of Texas. And that's just honestly what it is. It's not harming anybody, but the thing is that the reason you have laws, business laws, they're in there for a reason, and it's of course you have the state of Texas. The way that works, if you're unfamiliar, we are guided by a federal law, right? Everybody in the United States, whether you're in Texas like we are, or you're up in New York, California, Seattle, it doesn't matter, right? There's federal laws. You got to abide by those federal laws. Under that, you have state laws that are particular to each individual state, right? Not trying to dumb it down too much, but like you get what I'm saying. And from the state level, you go down to your county, your jurisdiction. Now you're kind of talking about where we are, right? So in having those different type of laws, as you go down, like the state cannot make a law harsher than a federal law is. it always gets going down into the local level, it could get harsher. It doesn't work the other way around. Um, they cannot they can only abide by what the baseline is, and then from there, whenever you get, to the county level, they switch the name around, they do different things, and that's fine. But what they're trying to do here, particularly in the city of Eagle Pass, with the ordinance that they're trying to pass, and they're trying to um, not pass the ordinance. Let me back up. Update it. It's existing already. Now it's common, knowledge out there that you have laws, you have ordinances at the city level, county level, that at times they need to be updated to fit what our modern, what modern society is now. And I mean, if you look around, have grown so much that we've outgrown some of these policies, some of these laws. They need to be updated. And when I say updated, it's, renaming something, or, maybe something doesn't exist. So removing that name. In this case, that's exactly what they're doing. They are updating an ordinance, which is a regular practice with the city of Eagle Pass, the city council. I mean, you don't want your personnel to be guided by an ordinance that was created 20 years ago. Times are not the same. So that's a regular thing that, they do. Now, getting more directly into the ordinance that they're updating, it's a zoning ordinance. It's section 13. It's home occupancy. Now, the home occupancy, it's pretty straightforward. It's people that are conducting business, having business, commerce through their home, which I understand. Which I understand is there's nothing wrong with that. There's many people that do their place of business is their home, and that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you follow whatever laws are in place, whatever law, it's just like we're anywhere else. I mean, Eagle Pass is no different. If you're going to open a business in Utah, you have to follow whatever the law is in Utah for businesses. If you're going to open up a law firm, if you're going to open up a food preparation place, a restaurant, if you're going to open up a bar, if you're going to open up, a bakery, wherever you're at, there are laws that guide certain type of businesses. That's understood. Those are laws. Now, that's exactly what is going on here. Now, a lot of people may not realize. Yes, it is going to affect, or it's going to seem, it's going to feel like it has an effect on a particular portion of the community, business community. And I'll tell you which ones in particular, because um, it does have an effect on a certain one, or at least an appeared effect on them. And those are the ones that are, feel something. It's not a real effect that they're going to have. And let me kind of explain it before I get ahead of myself. In the ordinance they are updating, they let you have the home occupancy, right? They strictly, kind of number out what kind of jobs, what type of jobs are allowed in your home. So they have, a listing of what is okay. One of them would be like an artist. I believe it starts off with, I have it here in the computer already. a dressmaker, sewing and tailoring. What they added on there was artist, author, sculptor, photographer. Um, for people that tutor students, they changed it. Instead of the limit was actually two, now it's three, and they added an office facility, such as accountants, architects, engineers, attorneys, and consultants. Those are permitted home occupation. Um, I'll get back to one in a minute. Prohibited home occupations, which are not allowed. This is what the city's saying is not allowed. And again, this is guided and dictated by the state law, but it is a city ordinance. So what is not allowed is an animal hospital, dancing studios, exercise studios. Mortuaries are not allowed. You can't have a mortuary in your home. Private clubs, restaurants, and catering businesses, stables or kennels, automobile shops, stuff involving hazardous material. So getting back to the restaurants and catering businesses, that goes along with slash what is allowed, permitted house home occupations, home cooking, and preserving as allowed under Texas cottage food laws. Now, the Texas cottage food laws, for those that are not familiar, they're a set of laws that were enacted in 2013 by the state. They were enacted to guide people that were going to run food businesses out of their homes. Like the Texas cottage food law is strictly for that, for people who run that are thinking of running food preparation. Whenever you serve anybody, um, that's what their guidelines are and have to follow. Now it's saying on here it's permitted to have a home occupation if you do home cooking and preserving as allowed under the Texas cottage food laws. Now, the Texas cottage food laws, what they dictate, and one of the big things is here is a separate refrigerator from home cooked, where you would keep your refrigerated items. They need to be separate from where you would be serving, or from the food you'd be selling. They need to be prepared in separate areas. You need to have basically a separate commercial kitchen in your home, separate from your personal kitchen where you would set up everything. And as per the Texas cottage food laws, now this is a state law, guys, enacted in 2013. You need to follow that, and you can go ahead and do that. And it would be permitted. You can do home cooking, preparation, sales, everything from your home, as long as you follow the Texas cottage food laws. Excuse me, my throat's a little dry. So that was the debate or discussion I wanted to have with the community today. Is that this to me, the way this ordinance update is stalling is I think it's inappropriate. Now, I understand the perceived feeling that some people that may conduct in those businesses that and we see them. I'm not going to name any names, but we see them on Facebook. We see, you know several of them, and kudos to them. I mean, I understand. uh Everybody has their hustle, everybody has their job, everybody has their little thing they do, whether it's their primary source of income, their secondary, their third, right, source of income. But there's laws, guidelines, and this and that. I mean, I don't want to compare, but it, a state law is a state law. I mean, it's the same thing that, drugs are state laws. Uh, Crossing the border illegally, that's a state law. There's several state laws out there. So we all, I mean, we're supposed to grow up and understand that laws are there to abide by, right? Sometimes we don't. Some, right? It's real easy not to, but if you want to conduct business, do commerce, eventually, grow your business at one point or another, I mean, you're going to run into a stop because you're not following the law to begin with. And that's the point I was trying to get to here. I would like if anybody out there has any comment or anything to say about the situation, let us know. We can discuss that. We can discuss something else you want to bring up, but just think about the reasoning on this. It's an ordinance that just needs to get updated, right? I understand, like I said, there's a certain, there's certain people out there that may feel like they're being affected, and that, in my point of view, I feel that it's totally, uncalled for because you have people conducting business in a certain way, whether some people follow the laws while they're conducting business, and some people don't. And I mean, it's none of my business how they conduct theirs. I'm not in that industry whatsoever. I have seen how yeah, the cottage laws. How you doing? First of all, the cottage laws is mainly for baked goods. It includes the baked goods. It also includes like cooked meats. Um, and that's one of the things that we were discussing before. Like we took how difficult it is for a small to medium business to operate, having to have their location, a restaurant where you go and sit down, versus somebody selling food that may not have a license, may not have a permit. I understand both ways. I understand both ways. But the thing is that we should all also understand that more and more people that do this, it does affect the way businesses are conducted. And it's difficult for some of these businesses that these Facebook, unregistered, not, food places that are not following the Texas cottage laws. They're getting business from the businesses that go put up something, an actual building, a food truck, food trailer, um, that have something, a stable where they can go ahead and conduct business. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to knock one way or the other. It's not one way or the other, but it's just, what's good business. And if us as a community, a lot of us want our community to grow. I understand that. Everybody always gripes and says the tale whenever it comes to Eagle Pass that there is nothing to do here. Okay, well, it's understandable if we want to attract businesses here. We need to make sure people are conducting business the right way. Because if our own, homegrown businesses are having to struggle because of people taking, and this is not to say, plate sales, that of course for a good benefit, that's something different. But people, taking advantage of not fully investing into their craft, and then stealing customers from somebody that did. I mean, that's what happens, guys. I mean, sometimes, and like I said, I understand both ways. something might be a little cheaper, but it might not be better quality, and it's a battle that each of us have to decide when we open up that wallet, right? But I'm glad you brought that business incubator up, Kirby, but we'll get there in a little bit. We'll get to that. What I just wanted to bring up and make aware to a lot of people, because I do know that some people may hear things and not necessarily get to know the whole story about it. Um, I think in the first meeting that it was brought up with the city council. Not I think, as I remember, it was three people on the city council. I think only just enough to make quorum. There's five of them up there, the mayor and four council people, and then you have to make a quorum. Then you have to make a quorum with at least three out of the five. Okay, moving forward, there were three of them. I think it was Mayor Salinas. It was Councilwoman Cruz and Councilman Elias Diaz. And they were moving through this item, so they talked about it. Um, Everybody kind of, I got the sentiment that it was, a good direction to go. Like I said, it was just an update to the current ordinance as is. And as I read, they added a certain section, saying with the home cooking, because a lot of people, and all of us see this, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there is, but a lot of us see us. You can open up your Facebook, your Instagram, and everybody sells these snacks, sells these taquitos and everything, and oh man, I'll be the first one to say they're delicious, but we don't think about how that affects a business that is having to open up a shop down here on a main street on the loop or something, having to employ people to make food, to serve people that come and sit down. Now I know we just came off of COVID, and that's what makes everything difficult, the transition into going, the transition into moving after COVID has already happened. Hoping nothing too bad comes our way moving forward. But businesses do hurt when that happens. They steal customers. Not I don't want to say steal. That's a poor choice of words. They sway customers to from other businesses that are registered, that are following state laws, that are doing what needs to be done to make sure they're running a legal business in the state of Texas. That's what's key. And what I didn't like, and I have a couple of quotes, because I did speak to Councilman Elias Diaz on this issue. Not speak to him. We exchanged messages on Facebook about it. And reason why I reached out to him was because he was the one that in the first meeting, the first reading of this ordinance, he was the first one to come up and say no, or voted. He voted against the item, so it was 2-1, I believe. I'm hoping I'm giving the history correct, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I did reach out to him because I had a concern as to that would make a why that would make a big deal. And when I spoke to him, about it, it was a good conversation. And one thing I do want to say, and I do want to thank, I don't know if he's watching or not, Elias, Councilman Elias. I do really appreciate him responding back to the questions that I had asked him. That takes a true person that is for the people, that will reply back if you have questions about a move that somebody did, and that's why I questioned. Yes, Yolanda, it's only city limits. That's what we're talking about at this moment. It may be something that affects the county in the future, but at the moment, it's a city ordinance that is being updated at this moment. So, getting back to it, I know it seems like it may affect people immediately whenever this comes out, and I gotta feel that um, Councilman Diaz knows about or feels a little bit he had stressed that he was worried about enforcement going forward on the situation. And my sentiment on that was that if you're, you know, specifically, let's kind of narrow it down. If you're selling a food, right, and you're not complying with the Texas cottage laws right now, that's a state of Texas law, and you go into city ordinance, and the city ordinance is only referring to the Texas cottage law, saying the city is telling you, will anyone get grandfathered? That's a great question, Mr. Johnson. The way it is written here, it says pre-existing home occupations. Any home occupation which lawfully exists on the effective date of this chapter shall be allowed to continue operations in accordance with section 16. So what they're pretty much doing, and it doesn't say here specifically whether you're allowed to or not here locally, but the state law doesn't allow that, because right now, if you created your business after 2013, which that's when the Texas cottage laws were enacted. If you created that specific business that's in violation after 2013, you're already in violation. This business would have had to have been created before 2013. So that was a good question, and that's the thing that the city ordinance is not saying, these are the law, this is the law. It's saying, look at the Texas cottage food law. It's referring you to the Texas law. And that's what a lot of people are getting confused, thinking that all of a sudden they're in violation of something. So no, the thing is, if you're in violation currently of the Texas uh, cottage food laws, and you've been operating the same, you've been in violation since 2013, because that's when the laws were enacted. Now, a lot of the things that you guys need to remember, um, the difference between having food prepared at home versus, at a business that has to pass certain city requirements, certain city inspections, building inspection, get a health department inspection. They need to clear certain protocols to be able to serve you your food. Now, other places, they don't have to go through those hoops, you know? And that's what affects several local businesses and even businesses in other cities because of the lack of enforcement, I want to say. The lack of enforcement, and I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, the city of Eagle Pass. More than anything, I think this is a lack of guidance, but the lack of enforcement on this type of situation need is the reason why it has gotten the way it is currently right now. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I can understand. Um, you know, I can understand if you don't have anything at the moment. Absolutely. Working with the people is what you should do best. Teach them and then carry on from then on. Now, in the situation, let's say with the restaurant, since we're talking about food right now, right, Mr. Johnson? Now, if you take that topic just right there, to be able to follow the Texas food cottage laws, you would have to have a commercial kitchen where you prepare food, a commercial refrigerator where you store food separately from the food that you prepare at home. Like that needs to be totally separate in accordance to what the Texas cottage food laws say. That I mean, get everybody current. I don't think. I mean, you would to get somebody current, you would have to build a commercial refrigerator, a separate commercial kitchen in I guess at their home to conduct that kind of business as a home occupancy. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, whenever you get into the people having home businesses that are not following the Texas cottage laws, that they don't have grease traps at a home based business that makes food, they clog up sewer lines, no fire extinguisher, no washing stations, no sink with 3 compartments, no insurance. I mean, there's a long list of home based food places that don't have to pay, don't have to do the extra mile, that actual businesses, that are let me rewind a little bit. I'm not going to say actual businesses, but businesses that have invested in themselves, getting a building, filing the permit, following the state laws. Now, whenever you make a business, and a lot of you that have businesses, you guys can kind of second me on this. You make a business, you come up with your plan, and to your knowledge, you do the best you can to make sure that your business is legal to begin with, right? I mean, there's a lot of people out here not selling drugs because they know it's illegal to sell drugs. You don't want to go to jail. Now, I understand the Texas food cottage laws. You may not go to jail if you violate those laws, but it's a law, you know? So why don't you conduct it the same way, or why don't you follow that same, methodology, that same thinking that, you're selling something that's illegal here, you're also doing something if you're conducting business and not following those laws. It's illegal as per the state of Texas. Again, the Texas cottage food laws were enacted in 2013, and they were enacted in good faith, to level competition and for every business. You know, some people may try to get in on stuff and make a quick buck, throw their money in, get their money out, and there's nothing against that. I'm not anything against business making money. Everybody has their own adventure in doing that, right? But what, in my experience, Eagle Pass, of course, we all want commerce here. We all want business. We all want to attract business. We all want to have business. We all want to exchange in business here. That is what we want. We want to grow. We want economic development. That is what has been lacking in our region for years. And it looks like we're finally at the doorstep, ready to move on. But we need to have sound business practices and sound business uh, methodologies and structure. Because if we don't, we're gonna lose a lot of businesses, a lot of investors that may want to come into our area. Yeah, I would agree with Joey saying that, there's a lot of minimum wage jobs out there that you can get, but it's not. It doesn't. How do I say? It doesn't help people out entrepreneurially. It doesn't help people out. Help them grow. Help them find their own thing they do, because everybody can have their own place in a community and strive having that place in the community. I know we're a little bit further than what our topic was, guys. I apologize for drifting a little bit, but the thing is that this ordinance is not necessarily out to hurt anybody. It is just trying to go along with what is required at the state level. And I think the state of Texas has shown that they are great at I think everybody Texas is great at doing business. And why shouldn't we be following Texas business laws when it is one of the best places to do business in the United States of America? Um, this one, I mean, if I see something that the city is doing that I might not agree with them, and I don't agree with them uh most of the time, I guess, if you want to say, but uh, in all honesty, this one, I mean, I don't understand why it was tabled. I don't understand why things need to slow down on this. If we want to be a legitimate city, that many people have complained, many people have spoken and said that they want to see our community as a business type community, as a leader, in the border. Um, a lot of people feel that we should be a lot closer to Laredo than we currently are, and that's a thing that we're never going to be able to do that. Our businesses are not going to be able to grow their roots, dig their roots, build two of them in the same city, in one part of the town, the other part of town, unless we allow the businesses to conduct the way businesses should conduct, and that's according to the state law. Let me look at some of these comments out here, guys. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and there is nothing wrong with what anybody does, but if that's where you eat, and that's what you want to do, I mean, it is not that expensive to register a business, depending on what it is you want to do. You can raise that money up, or borrow it, or it's not that much to get a registration. It's not that difficult to register a business either. That's something that you can literally do yourself online, and get that done to legitimize what you're doing. I understand maybe you're doing something like that, but also be cognizant of having to look through the guidelines to see what is allowed in the state of Texas, in the city of Eagle Pass, in the county of Maverick, what is allowed as a business. Also, if your location of your business, if it's going to be at home, make sure make sure you do that due diligence, and you make sure that your place is approved, your occupation is approved to conduct business at home, right? We don't want to do that. Aaron Johnson, as a builder in the city limits, you have to get so many permits, do anything now, and now inspections and more inspections. All that takes time, money to the customer. Some people get upset, but I explain as the city is trying to protect people from fraud and bad workmanship. I totally understand it. It's a good to protect the customers. No, I agree with you. I mean, that is the reason why you have those types of policies, and I understand that. Um, Again, it's that, let's say a builder now, as a restaurant, wouldn't you want the city to inspect food, make sure, just the way they inspect your workmanship, the way you're saying they don't want, somebody that isn't following the precautions, that isn't, on the hook for following the precautions because they're not a restaurant, selling food out here, or would you prefer food from the restaurant? And I totally get what you're saying, and it's very relatable. Um, to the both causes are very relatable, so I understand where you're going with that. Eagle Pass will never change till the leaders quit screwing people over. Nobody wants to pay more taxes. Yeah, that's true. Can't complain with that, right? Well, guys, I just wanted to bring up that situation. We will be having some interviews shortly lined up for next week. So you guys be on the lookout for that. And if you have any questions about this update, you guys can send us a message and or a comment or tag us on Facebook, anything like that. Send us a WhatsApp message if you have any questions or thoughts about the update. Again, they're updating the city ordinance on zoning, the city's zoning ordinance, section 13, home occupancy, and it's something important to watch, guys, because it could affect or the perceived effect that it's the perceived effect that's coming to some of the people that are conducting business that are in violation of the state law. It might unfold, and it could be something funny coming up soon. So, if you have any thoughts, again, send us a message on WhatsApp, send us a message on Facebook. We'd love to hear your messages. And next week, watch out. We'll be having an interview for you guys coming. Don't forget, there's still an election around the corner in November, the general election, when Republicans meet, go head to head against the Democrats. Thank you for watching, guys. Shout out to our sponsor, Viva K9. Uh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Viva K9 Grooming Boarding Center. We want you guys to reach out to our sponsor, assist them, give them a shout out if your guys dogs need any assistance as far as grooming, boarding. You need them to be trained. There's obedience classes these guys have. You guys need to check out that small local small business and support them, guys. If you guys want to support us directly, you can go on Cash App and send us a donation. Dollar sign the Rising Texan Media, Cash App, dollar sign the Rising Texan Media. Be on the lookout for next week, guys. We got a good interview coming up. Thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us on our regular podcast Wednesdays at 8 p.m. This is Isaac Ruiz on the Rising Texan podcast. We'll see y'all next time.